Mark, thank you. If you'd like to start our opening prayer.
Okay. Everyone, wherever you're at, take a moment to relax, whether it be closing your eyes, just taking a deep breath in and releasing. Ooh. Beloved Creator, that divine presence that's in all and through all, we are grateful for the YOU, for this time together, for the unfolding of your presence and of that universal Christ presence in us and through us. We invoke that spirit into our lives. We open our hearts to its guidance at this moment, knowing that we are connected, we are one, and we are all expressions of love. And for this, we say it is all done in Christ's name. So it is.
So it is.
Thank you so much, Mark. All right, we'd like to take a moment and formally welcome all of you here tonight. Interestingly enough, this event was born in the very room that Mark and Ayesha are in right now, or actually kind of beside that room. When we had started Chapter X, I knew that it would be great for us to have a leadership event. And when Mark and Ayesha, who had been experienced sponsors I knew, ended up at Unity Village, I thought we could just do a virtual training thing, maybe do something with 100 years of Youth of Unity. And then Angie Keys, who is the Southwest Regional Consultant, was also leading a virtual leadership event, and that got folded into this event because she was doing something and that kind of didn't exactly come to fruition. And Nick of the Northwest region, the consultant for Youth of Unity there, was also at one point talking about doing an online leadership. And Miranda is very involved in youth events. And anyway, it was just a whole group of people came together who really had never worked together before, and all have worked to create this event. And so it's been a truly collaborative event, and really excited that you are all here. So Nick, if you would like to tell us a bit about our training this weekend.
Yeah, so we're getting together this weekend to build connections and hopefully learn some practical skills and information that you can take back to your ministries to either strengthen or create YOU groups and support our high school age teens in their spiritual growth and development.
Yes, that's awesome. All right, so next up, a long-time tradition that we have in Youth of Unity is heart agreements, which we'll be talking about more. And in this event, we have the virtual heart agreements from the Chapter X heart agreements. Why is that not coming out? It seems like not a complete sentence. Okay, great. Anyway, so I will put a link to these in the chat. You can see them on PDF, but they are also here, and we can go through and kind of read them. And I'll just start with the highlighted part. We trust that you're capable of being awesome and kind to each other and yourselves. And since I don't really have it planned out how we would read all of them, and we've sent it to you, I'm going to just read the bulleted parts, or the bold. Respect your International of Youth of Unity community. I am balanced. I share the space. I am here now, which speaks to really honoring all expressions of people in Youth of Unity. I uphold privacy, and I honor boundaries. And that's kind of speaks to how we would handle if the agreements are broken. So it's not really, certainly we could read them all together, but also I feel like the first one, speaking of trusting each other, really kind of sums that up. Are there any questions? Hooray! All right. This is your wings team. In my introduction of like how we ended up here, Nick actually brought Dina into this, and that is how we got Dina, who is super experienced and wonderful, Angie, who is the regional consultant for Southwest, Reverend Miranda, who is running Unity of Greensboro, Ayesha, who is the YFM, at Unity Village Chapel, where Mark is also the, oh gosh, I feel like you do everything, Mark. It's like the key, the center.
Officially, office and operations manager. Some people just call me Oz.
Yes, that seems pretty accurate. And also, yes, Miranda is the associate minister and reverend at her church in Greensboro. And Nick Muncie Jarvis is the Northwest Youth of Unity consultant. Bottom row here is the all members of the YOU Alumni Network. Aiden, who is running tech this weekend. Lynn's Florin, who will be around. He's also here for support and does a lot of stuff on the back end. And then me, I'm Betsy. So welcome. Okay. Oh yes, also the Youth of Unity Alumni Network, just a little shout out to us. We are here working to be a booster club for Youth of Unity. On the 15th of the month, we meet and actually work to create initiatives like this one. We're launching a podcast, which you can sign up for, but when I say we're launching it, it's in a couple months. We're kind of obsessed with Youth of Unity history and also started Chapter X out of the Booster Club. So really been here more than a decade and we're excited to be here and to continue doing what we're doing. All right, now we'll do a schedule overview. Any questions so far? Okay, we are here launching our community. Next up is YOU Foundations, which we'll kind of talk about, foundations of Youth of Unity. And then after that, we're going to have my leadership style with Nick Muncie Jarvis. Can you tell us some about that, Nick?
Looking at, well, finding out if you don't know what type of leader you are or what style is yours, and then discussing kind of how you can use that style to support your YOU group. Also, looking at how your style fits with other sponsors or leaders in the ministry, so that you can create a balanced team. Because I know that I've worked with people that are really great and creative, but they're not great at paperwork. And for our youth events, we have a lot of paperwork. That's one of my strengths. So we balanced each other out. So just looking at how your leadership style fits in with the program and how you can help cultivate positive leadership qualities in the youth you work with.
Great.
And for the youth-led why and how that Ayesha and I are going to be doing, it's going to focus on that leadership empowerment through empowering the youth to lead and how that benefits the chapter, the youth, and the sponsor all at the same time.
And how to get there. And sometimes there's barriers, and what are those barriers, and some ideas, and lots of resources for you.
And finally, the introduction to the Wings project. So everyone will leave this event with some sort of plan that they can take forward. And we're going to get into that a little bit later.
Awesome. Okay, so Sarah Beth, you asked, are the alumni meetings virtual? We don't really meet, oddly enough, but we are on, and I will get a link. Our biggest group is our Facebook group, which is about 2,200 people. And we regularly post on Instagram and also on a Facebook page. But I'll get a link of that for the group. And so tomorrow we're going to start with a morning celebration, and then Angie is going to wake us up with It's Alive. Tell us about
that. Okay, so I'll be talking about the living curriculum, which is the foundation of how we teach our youth and our adults. And it's a beautiful process and philosophy that I'm excited to share with you tomorrow.
And holding space for all feelings will be something Reverend Dina and I will be doing, where we define what that looks like and our experiences, not just our experiences, but the collective, all of us. It's just like to hold space, what holds us back, and some ways to break through on that as well.
Marketing and outreach will have separate sessions for YOUers and for sponsors, and that will cover different tips, techniques, and tricks for using marketing and outreach to grow awareness about your YOU group.
And then Nick and I will be sharing about fundraising, some fundraising ideas, some basics, some foundations, and we will have one for the sponsors and then a separate one for our YOU.
And then during sponsor basics, I'll be leading a group, the team group, and discussing lesson planning and implementation. So how to create a lesson plan, and then some tips on group facilitation, and then as well, kind of an offshoot is event planning, because it's a similar format, just a bigger plan for a bigger event. That's what we'll be doing.
And in sponsor basics, we'll be covering just a whole bunch of things that can happen, and maybe ideas to keep your YOU running in a concise direction, or how to cope when it doesn't.
And then we're back to our Wings project, and we'll have some time to really start planning that portion at this point.
Okay, so there's a couple hours. We will be free, and then we'll come back for the Wings project again, where we're going to be grouped up. And then we'll do 100+ years of Youth of Unity history live from the Fillmore Chapel at Unity Village. So Youth of Unity really has a long and connected history with the Unity movement and has done a lot. We've been involved in so many people who are involved in this program go on to do so many amazing things within the movement as well as, in the world. And we just make exceptional human beings. And the cool thing is that, our the Alumni Network's obsession with the history of Youth of Unity has really brought us to this point where we now really have a sense of the full story. So it's really a multimedia presentation. I can almost guarantee there's things there that even if you know Youth of Unity, there's so many, there's so much, honestly, even in the last 24 hours that I've learned that has blown my mind. So looking forward to sharing that as we continue what makes this amazing. So then on Sunday, an hour before Chapter X, we're going to gather together. We're going to talk about our Wings projects, kind of have a community launch. And then we will be participating in IYOU Chapter X. And how that works is that we watch a video together and then we discuss the video. This episode is called The Power of Positive Denial. And Zinnia, who is completely aspirationalist, but it's a thing that exists. So, it's good to be moving towards that. And so much of this weekend, we're going to talk about so many of these pieces, but it is foundational. Like, what's it mean, like to have a thriving chapter? Also, where's your region? And these are the regions in the United States. And even though Canada here is like listed as a separate region, most of the time Canada, wherever the Canadian churches are, if they're near a specific region like Northwest or Eastern, usually or even Great Lakes, they'll just like kind of meld with those regions. But anyway, this is the Unity regional map. So, which is not, I would say, founded by like logic. It was a lot of people doing a lot of different things at different times. But anyway, Unity regional map. And so here is a list of 2024 upcoming YOU events. This slideshow and really all the slideshows you will be given access to. So you don't have to write all of these things down, but they exist. And with that, I'm going to turn the slideshow or the presentation over to Nick.
What is Youth of Unity? We covered that it's a group for high school age youth, typically 14 to 18 years of age. And we can go to the next slide. But additionally, YOU is a small group ministry. Mainly because of its size, but also because of its intention and its design. So ministry in general happens in relationship. And so small group ministry deepens and expands the ministry by providing an intentional container for those relationships. So while YOU groups are part of a larger congregational system, they're also a standalone community. And this would be, a YOU group would fall into the church size of a family size ministry. And you'll often hear YOUers talk about, other people in their chapter like their brothers and sisters or siblings. And I like that concept because like when we go to regional and national events, say like I'm Nick from Portland, like I'm Lancelot from Camelot. It's like this is who I am and where I'm from. And so if you know, oh, you're with those people. And so we kind of come to regional gatherings and like it's a family reunion. You get to visit all your cousins and then you go back home with your family. So it can be a lot of fun that way. Next slide. So some principles of small group ministry is the safe space where you can be seen and heard and make personal connections, where love is shared both ways, especially between facilitators and participants, and all that creates closeness and trust. Some of these are intentions and others are ways that you can tell if the group is operating in a healthy way, is that there's a shared trust and a closeness. And even when there's conflict, you have that foundation of love and trust that you can, address the conflict from, and a mutual respect. So it's not like, oh, so-and-so said this and now I'm out of here. It's like, no, this is my group too. Let's come together and talk it out. And this is from a website of churchleaders.com. So there's a URL for that. And the next slide. So the role of a leader in a YOU group is to hold the rim of the space. So it's consciously creating a space that is safe and allow the YOUers to express themselves in that space while gently upholding the group agreements and boundaries. That's really the basis of it, is YOUers are high schoolers. And just in general, life is messy and it's okay if they show up on their worst days being raw and messy, that they can be loved and uplifted. Because we'll hear that some people on their worst days don't go to church because they don't want to be judged. Like, no, YOU is here for your worst days to help you remember your light. If you want to learn more about holding the rim, you can read Calling the Circle by Christina Baldwin, which is a great resource on group work. Next slide.
This is us.
All right.
right.
What are the 4 S's? Sorry, we just had somebody arrive, a dear Unity friend. Go ahead.
John Chaplin's here. The 4 S's. So you can advance that slide. The 4 S's of YOU: spirituality, service, skills, and social. And in South Central, we actually have skills, and in some of the other regions, it's spirituality, service, and social. But you can take the S's, S's you love. And we have found, as YOU sponsors, when you weave these into lessons and the culture of your chapter, it really creates a nice balance. Because if you're too heavily weighted on one or the other, you miss out on some beautiful things that your chapter can do, like service, or even focusing on skills like how to lead a meditation or how to lead group prayer in front of the entire church. And the YOUers that were in our chapter were able to do that in the end, and those were skills they developed. In social, that seems to be always the one. People are like, let's get together, do fun things, which is super awesome. You would never want a YOU, I don't know if it's possible to have a YOU chapter without the social aspect, but don't discount it. It's an important piece, and all 4 of these S's are an important component in your chapter. So we're going to we encourage you, as we go through the training this weekend, to see how the 4 S's play out. And you can also take a look at that in your Wings project and how you want to focus and include those 4 S's of YOU.
I think that's our time.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at heart agreements. Now, heart agreements are basically guidelines for what is expected at events and in class. And what is special about heart agreements is that they are created from a space of trust and love and accountability for ourselves, right? We give space for our youth to start from a place of trust. And heart agreements are often created by the groups. So let's go to the next slide real quick. Can we go? Okay, thank you. So we shared these earlier, and these are the Chapter X heart agreements. And typically when you're at an event, you will have heart agreements set up ahead of time. Everyone will have read them and signed it. And this creates kind of a foundation to begin from. The intention for heart agreements is to create a safe space for the people there. Create a safe space where people feel seen and heard, where they understand what's expected, and they understand that they have been trusted with this. Betsy shared a great story about when she was in YOU, about how that affected her. Betsy, would you be willing to share real quick?
Yes. So I talk about this a lot, but when I went to my first rally, I was told there were trust agreements, and first and foremost that it meant that I was trusted completely.